Okay, so here we are, Wusik Station X or 10. One time I was talking with a guy and he was confused about using letters in product names, but it's very common now. Just look at OS 10, for instance. And so what I'm going to do first is explain a bit what I have been doing on this past few months and what is going to be happening. So I created a tool to help me out creating the skin process, but in the end, sadly, I had to really trash it away because I'm not going to be able to use it. Instead, I recreated it using Skinman and Knobman and exported to PhotoPlus, which is a Photoshop clone or of some sort. It doesn't exist anymore, but I appreciate this years ago and I still have it, so I'm using it because it has layers and effects for layers. And you can see here that it's all blue because the idea is that you have all these layers that you can adjust the colors inside the program. So here's pretty much everything. The amplitude envelope filter, it's a bit hard to see, but I'm going to show you the rendered files. So let me go to my Wusik engine data for Wusik Station X. And if I go to the skins, default skin, there's just 2 files now and a folder. The skin settings is just like before, allow you to adjust a few things like positions, font size, and even some colors. So this portion is already live in the code. The rest here, I still have to fix it and check it. And there is also another one that's going to be Wusik Station 10 skin overlay. And this is the important one because it takes a bunch of files and created the actual final files that the code is going to be used. So let me show to you what I'm meaning of that. So we have skin sources now, default, and now here we have all these files. Just ignore the SPP files; those are for PhotoPlus. So I have several background files. That's the logo there. You can see it adds the top area, then a grade, the logo type, and then you also have the other ones with some letterings and a few things out. Here's all the layers, the possible layers. So sample player, drawable oscillator, audio layer. This is a skin test actually, not an actual file. So all these files you can overlay on top of each other in this file here. So you can change the RGB colors on the file. So if you want the red instead of blue, which I'm doing here, you can see swap colors. So 0, 1, 2 would be the normal RGB order. So 2, 1, 0, I'm replacing, swapping actually the blue with the red, and I'm doing this on several other places, which is going to output on the cached folder the actual files that the code is going to use. So I can see here layers. Now you can see that I can actually read everything because I set to black and white the texts. I swapped the blue with the red for some of the objects, and also made monochrome some other objects. And I did this for everything: the about box, which was blue, the background, which had all the blue elements, now it's red. And I can also adjust the brightness, hue, and some other options. So in the text file that I created, I put a small manual. So you have the global RGB, which you can swap colors. So 0 is red, 1 is green, 2 is blue. So global RGB equals 0, 1, 2 is not going to do anything. The force redraw is going to redo all the files when you start the plugin. Because by default, when you install it, you are already going to have these cached files here. So it's not going to redraw anything, because this takes a long time to process. Stop, you can put here right after the background. Let's say stop, and it's not going to compute the others. If you want to take a quick look at the background first. Then the target is going to be which overlay background you are computing. So we have all the options in here. Main background, the overlay that goes on the main background, and the layer overlay which goes on the top of the layer. The layer all, which is going to be all the elements on the layer. So you can see here the layer all has all the elements inside it. You can see that it has the top ones: amplitude, envelope, filter, then the sample player, drawable oscillator, audio looper, super oscillator, tree oscillator, wave sequencer, and then the insert effects and the modulations. And you might be noticing that there's something a bit different in here. So the sample player is very small, but there is going to be a button where you click it and it opens almost full screen. So you can edit zones and stuff like that with much ease. And the same goes for the drawable oscillator. You can click on an editor, it's going to open a much bigger drawable oscillator. And the wave sequencer, the same thing. By default, it's going to show just 1 or 2 lanes here. I haven't defined that yet. But if you click on edit, it's going to open a very large sequencer window. And on the modulations, it's going to be the same thing. So you have, like, let's say, Lfo Modulation. You click edit, and it's going to show all the Lfo options there. And on the top, let me open the background here. Here on the top, where is this grate here, you can also put there a link or shortcuts to any parameter that you want. So let's say you want to put a shortcut to the LFO speed, you can put in there. Or for the first filter frequency or the second filter frequency, whatever you want, you can put several of the short links in here. So that's a very handy option. So that's how the system is going to layer everything up. And if I go on the skin settings here, so I can see here layer divider, top, and height. So let me go to the photos again. So it shows me where it starts, the position it starts, and what's the height of the top area, and also does the same things for the bottom area, for the sample player, and then I have to also put the other ones. So it's all going to take from this one file, all the layers. Just a minute. So this is the basics for the interface. So it's going to be very different, but at the same time, it's going to be very easy to change colors and things like that. Because here you can see there is where is it? I forgot to add, but I need to put also where it's going to take the files, because you have the skin sources now, which is a new folder, and then the default, and you can have other types too, like I don't know, the name of the person who is doing the skin, or the user, something like that. And I forgot to add it here, but it was on my list. I just forgot. It's going to be like something like folder equals default, and then the code knows that it should take all the skin files and the source files in this case from the default folder. And also you can see here that no, I remember now. It's not there. It doesn't go here. Sorry. It goes in the skin XML file. Here, skin sources folder, default. There you go. I just forgot it was there. But maybe I'm just going to put a note in here. The name of the file again. Skin settings. Just going to put there just so it's easy to see. So okay, so I have set here my background files. So target 0 is going to be the background. I added all the background files that I created. I swapped the color of a few files, add a bit of brightness, sorry. Put this in black and white, add the brightness and inverted. And also I did a bit of offset to the file because when I changed the color, it looked to be a bit off in the Y placement, so I just changed that. So there are several ones that I just do black and white and invert. On this one, I also added alpha, which is going to add the transparency to the file. So the overlay, I just added the overlay. I didn't do anything to it. The layer overlay, I set black and white and invert. Then you have all the things that goes to the layer. The macro thing, the about box, and the first two knobs, which is the regular knob and the pen knob. Let me see if it's rendering now. Is this guy here? Because I was doing some changes and I'm going to explain what I'm doing. So what is it? The guy. Let me find it. Because I ran into a problem. A big problem actually. All my files are 4K. So they are very big. So 3,840 pixels by 4,600 pixels and 80 pixels. So it's very large, so it looks very good on 4K monitors. I'm not worrying about 8K monitors because those are still not very useful for music stuff. But still, if you're using, you can still scale up on 4K and still is going to look a bit good, not that terrible. So let me see now. What I have to do, I have to scale this down on the code. And what I do, I have a fixed size. So this is the size that I'm using. This is a 4K resolution. And this is fixed. So everything's computed with that in mind. So let me just see if I'm computing this, because I already did some changes and I'm going to explain in a bit what I'm changing. I don't think this is going to run the way I want. No, it's not loading. Because I'm trying something else in here. Let me see where I'm not sending the actual. Just give me a minute and I'm going to figure this one out. But I changed the other day and here it is. I'm not starting things up. No. And here it is. I found it. Because I was testing something, which is going to be the new way I'm going to do the interface. Okay, now this is very large, so I'm going to scale down. So, okay, it looks good from 4K to 1080p, a bit lower than 1080p actually. 1080p would be like, this is hard to adjust because I forgot to add fine adjustment. This is nearly 1080p, more like 980p. But it's slow as hell. It's very, very slow. And there's two reasons why this is slow. I can actually show. Let me see my. Well, OBS is running, so it's hard to see which one is the interface. But when I close it, we're going to see which one drops down. Which one? It's a bit hard to see. Seem to be. That's because the refresh rate is very slow right now, but it doesn't matter. It is slow. You can, as you see from when I adjust the knob, you can see that the refresh rate's just terrible, and it's not working the way I want because there is too much happening on the screen. And the way my latest code works is that I have a plugin here. So I have this project is a plugin. But instead of having anything, it runs an external process, which is this project here. So it runs an external project, and there's a timer on the editor, and it asks the external process for the interface, but it asks just for what has changed, not for the whole interface. But still, the external process has to draw the whole interface every time and check what has changed. And it doesn't work very well. So what I decide to do, where is it? Actually, here I have to remove this timer. So I'm going to use an Opengl, I think that's the name, Opengl. And I'm going to use code from this guy, One Lone Coder. He does great work with C++ and especially with game-related stuff. And you can check his channel, JVDX9. I think it was JVDX9, the correct name. And he also has a website, onelonecoder.com. And his Opengl engine is very, very optimized. I'm using the Juice framework, but the Juice Opengl was giving me very slow performance compared to his library. And it just requires Opengl 1.0, which almost any computer from 10 years ago will have. And one thing that I really like about it is that I can load stuff to the GPU memory and have the GPU handle a few processes for me, which is going to speed things up a lot. So this is what I use it for my game. I don't know if you saw that. I don't remember what I have installed on my computer right now. Let me open the site. Here we are, D-Razor. So I created this game, D-Razor, and it's just a simple game. But everything was created with the Opengl pixel game engine by the one lone coder, and with a few things done with Juice, but not many things. Most of the stuff is just C++, and that's it. So, okay. What I want to do now, to use this engine, I have to divide a few things up. So, the first thing I have created, let me put a few of these things back in here. I have created a way to redo the skin. So let's see here, force redraw. I'm going to change this force redraw to 1. So when I open up Wusik Station X, it's going to redraw all the layers. And you can see how slow that is, because it's doing this with 4K files and merging one file to the other one. And this is done in memory. It's not using the GPU for anything, because I really need this to be pixel by pixel perfect, and I don't want the GPU to messing up around with anything. So it processed all the 54, I think, files, and now it's saving the files. And it has loaded the cached files. So now if I go there and look at my skin cached files, I can see that all the files were created today. So those are the new files. Simple as that. Let's say I changed here my background, the color swaps. I changed it to bluish 2, so let's say 120. 120. Whoops. 0. I think this is going to be green. Green. No. Let me see. Bluish 2. Yeah, that's correct. So I'm swapping the blue with the green. It's going to give me a green top. Or not. Oh. Background. 0. So it's R green. Here it is. Green. Now it should work. No, it's giving me a blue again. I'm doing wrong. Sometimes my brain. These are the normal colors. 2 is blue. 2 and 1. 2 and 1. This should work. Give me green. Now it's working. Okay. So you can see that it's very easy to change it. But I'm not going to be using the GPU to layer all this stuff up, because I think it's a bit nonsense to do that way, when I can just layer what it needs to be layered. It's going to be fixed in 0, 0, so that's going to be red. Because all these guys don't ever need to be separate during the rendering process. So I just can pre-render it before anything else. Another thing, if I delete the cached folder, is also going to recompute, but just one time. But it forgot to give me an update to what's going on. I have to fix that. But in any case, I have to fix this because I'm not going to be using this option of having the external process sending the information over. So what do you do now? Okay. First, I have to check a few things up. I have to check how I'm going to run the pixel engine. Because then I have to do everything from there instead. What I'm doing, I have the update skin, which is the actual update, the interface, update graphics user interface, the GUI. I have my skin thread in here. So the skin thread is this guy here. I'm going to put this screen thread. No, screen processor thread, just so I don't get confused with anything else. Because the skin processor thread is the one that layers everything and then saves the files and then updates the interface. So close this guy. I don't like to leave too much stuff open. Annoys me. And there's the show processing, which can help a bit. So instead, what I'm going to do, let me think the order that I'm going to do this. This is where the interface gets drawn. So I could just want to actually get rid of the intercommunication process, but I'm going to worry about that last. I guess what I have to do, this is going to be my class. for the Opengl engine am I going to use. So let's call this engine. And then I'm thinking where I'm going to be creating this, because this engine here, the pixel game engine, gets a bit in the way of my juice file, so that's why I'm putting in here. Okay, it's my editor. Oh, here, editor. So I'm going to create the editor in here. Pixel game engine. So there you go. I'm going to create in there. But I think this is not going to work. Let me check, because I don't have the definition in there. Yes, I don't have the definition there, so it's going to be void actually. It's just going to be a void pointer instead. The greatest thing about void is that you can put anything on this pointer, as long as you remember what it is that you inserted in there. So on my destructor, where's my I have one in here, because this is for Wusik Station 10 alone. On my destructor, I have to worry about that and close it from there. Here we are. The last thing I'm going to do. So if it's the Wusik Station X code, you can see that I'm using a lot of base code for all my products. So I don't remember if I have to recast it. I don't think I have to do that. Maybe I will have to. Just one thing. Just one thing. Because when I create it, it's going to halt my process as it was created. Because this is going to block and wait until it's the window is closed. I have to remember how I did on my game to actually quit the process. What I'm going to do instead, I'm going to create a new thread and call from that thread. Yeah, sorry for going back and forth with this, but sometimes I don't know exactly how it's going to work until I start doing. So I have this king thread, and I'm going to create another one. I'm going to create a there you go. So I can add the effect in the editor there, which I'm going to probably going to be needing. So let's leave it it there. And let me see where I have initialized this guy here. There you go. Then when I update my interface, what I'm going to do is call a thread. Start thread. Priority of 6, which is good. But I only do this if I haven't done before. So first I check my skin files in here. If the background file is missing, I'm going to start a new thread. And in the end, if this guy is not running, I just run it, which is going to take all the files and do the actual interface. So now one thing I want to check, so there should be 2 places. No, not in here. Let me close this guy just to not confuse things up. Skin overlay. Oh, when it loads the data. Okay. Now there's something missing that I'm not looking at. But no, force redraw is one. Like they load the skin threads always running. Ah, okay. It's checking if it has loaded. Okay, I see now. Never mind. So this is a problem here. Because this is shared. So let's say we run 2 times Wusik Station 10. The first one is going to start grabbing the skin files, and the second one may try to do that as well, and can get a bit complicated. This is not good. This is going to be starting a secondary thread. But then again, we don't actually need it to be in a secondary thread. Okay. Let's just remove the skin thread, because I just need 1 thread for that. Instead, I just load this guy and pass the editor. This is more safe actually. And I'm going to have the Opengl thread running at the top of the Where am I? Come on, what's the problem now? Oh, this happens on the data file. Okay. So it's effect, data files, or just data files, which is a macro shortcut. Not editor, it's these. So okay, I'm getting there. First thing we check, is the Opengl thread running? No, it's not running. So let's start running. And I have to, but before I do that, I have to pass a few things. Oops. I have to pass the editor equals this, and effect equals effect. Okay. So we check if the about box is valid. The about box should be done last because I have to do the skin file first, actually. It goes in here after I have actually processed it. So okay, this is more likely. Now I can create it. The run of this thread. I'm going to put on the bottom here. I like to use this. And some people complain the way I use the, what's the name again? Indentation, but each to its own. That's where I just like to do it. So sorry if it's not the best thing in the world, but works for me. So there we go. Let's see. Now I have to create the construction for this guy, which is going to be this guy. And this is going to block everything until you close the window, sorry. Oh. There's my definition of standalone. Ah, of course, it's real-time based. So if it's standalone, it's going to quit as we close the window. That should do it. Just out of curiosity, let's compile this. There's still a few problems that I have to address, but let's see if it works. Closing and opening. Why? It's crashing. Probably. Let me see. If opening start, okay. Hmm. Not accepting my alert call. This is a small macro I created to show me an alert if something is happening. I did something wrong. Because this should be blocking the thread. So let me go back there, update Git. If thread is not running, start thread. Huh. Why it's complaining about my alert? Ah, yeah, this is a pain in the ass. Because I added some Windows stuff to the code and it's doing that. Just try something up in here. So I have my Wusik Station there. It's size 0 because I'm not returning anything. And if I close it, no, doesn't close it. Oh yes, because it's closing the application, the external application, and the main code will just reload it, of course, because this is an external process. So okay, I have some homework to do, but it is opening, and this is the code that it's updating. So just creating some random pixels. So the next process is to create, remove all these guys. So it starts the thread. Okay, start the thread. This doesn't go in here because that's wrong. Because this is the size of the pixel. So it's going to be one size pixel, which is 1 by 1. And now the size, that's the complicated part. I have to get an approximate size of the window. But the idea here is to open this in full screen. Full screen is true. Try to remember now. How do I get the size of the use application? Get screen monitor. No, it's not that. Desktop. Nice. Monitor. Get instance. Get. I'm trying to remember how I did this last time. I could just look at my game because I did that there. So let's go there. Games, the razor. Okay, here we are. Let's check where I actually open the constructor. Ah, come on. So here's my screen size. Where is it? Oh boy. Those two guys are getting created somewhere. Oh, and in the constructor. Okay. Find this. Jesus. This is big. I forgot how big this is. Display size. Oh, here, get desktop, get displays. Man, why so complicated? Okay, here we go. And full screen. Of course, I'm going to give the option to run in window mode, but for now, we'll stay at full screen. So, okay, I'm doing this. But the thing is, if I close this, and if it's in standalone mode, I have to close the whole thing. But I don't remember exactly how I do that. I'll have to figure this one out later. So if it's in standalone mode, it can send a message to the main process, the actual application, telling it to close up. Otherwise, it just closes the editor in here, and then only plugin is going to have a small interface saying open editor again, something like that. So right now is where things can get complicated. So first, I'm not going to use the onCreate. I'm not going to create anything, because this is usually when you're creating your game. And this is not going to be a game, so I'm going to just remove a few things in here. And I'm also going to tamper a bit with the pixel engine, changing it a bit. I don't need the elapse time. I can remove that. Dun, dun, dun. Okay. Now here I can remove that. It's just one variable less to have to be using. And actually the user onCreate is already here as a virtual function. Let's see what it does. It does nothing, so I don't really need to override in here. Now, what I want in here is my editor. And I'm going to create another call, which is going to be the Opengl call on the editor. It gets a bit confusing, but after I clean up the code, it's going to be easier to see things up. But for now, going to be like this. Don't know if that's actually going to work. Oh no, I'm not going to do like that. I'm going to do in a different way. So I have my editor here, and I'm going to create this call in here. Instead. And since I have my editor there, it should work right away. Or not. Why it's complaining? Oh, of course. So now when I create the constructor here, equals editor. No, it's not that. I have to pass. Forgot. Unless I created it in the wrong way. Oh, where is it? Oh, my editor is correct. Okay. Let me see if I'm still using the skin thread, but I don't think I am. So let's remove it to avoid confusion. So this is going to be running full screen. I'm going to add a small close option when you move the mouse to the top. Then I'm going to see a close menu and run as Windows, stuff like that. And it's going to remember what it was before. And you can also resize it to any size because the Opengl window allows that. So let me see now. The main problem is that I don't have access to a few of the juice options in here, but I can figure it something out. Like drawing a text with a nice font, because the pixel engine has just a very standard pixelated font. But I can figure something out. So let's take a look again in here. So I start that thread. If the background image is missing, it's going to load it. Otherwise, it's going to just draw everything. The layer background, layer top. It's going to create the interface actually. And in the end of the loading all the data, it updates the interface. So there you go, updates the interface. So what I have to do now, what I have to do is take care of that in here. And then at some point, I'll have to stop sending the editor to the main application. Okay, that's not hard. Maybe the best option is not to load the Opengl window just yet. I think it's going to be the last thing we'll load. So let's say It loads the data, then it constructs everything. I have to create my own viewport and all that stuff like that. And then the last thing is going to load the OpenGL thread. That makes more sense to me, at least. Because you still have the loading message in the plugin window. I have no idea what's doing now. It says loading and it's crashing. Okay. I have to figure out where it's crashing. So I have to debug this thing. Let's not start a thread. I know it's crashing because the mouse keeps flickering. that's the reason I know it's crashing. So it starts with the update interface. I was not even getting there. Interesting. Thread is in here. Let me see. The files are all there. Keys, default, cached, everything's in here. Oh, that's not good. Ah, yes, because last time I stopped the process of creating the files. It's created, but it's not updating the main screen. That's okay. I will figure something out. Remove the stop. Yeah, there we go. So let's add back this guy. and it's crashing. It's not good. I can debug. It's just since it is an external process, it's a bit harder to debug, but I can do it. Oh, it's not liking something in the code. Okay, it tries to load the data, passes the editor. By the way, why do I need the editor in here? Okay, I have no idea. Let me compile the debug version. But I have to put some thing to break the code before it starts up. Something like an alert window should do. Okay. Let me be sure that it compiles with the alert window. So now I open up. I'm going to show the alert window. Okay. Debug, process, external, start. Okay. Now I run to find why it's closing. Okay, here it is. So it's crashing while it loads the files. But why? Oh, it's starting again. That's the problem. Since it's an external process, it closes when it fails. And then reopens again. That's how I did my code. And to change that, it's a big pain in the ass to change. But at some point, maybe I will have to do. Add like some special debugging mode that doesn't close automatically. Data interface. Name. Human interface. Well, of course, I think I know what it is. Not only that, but I'm not going to be using this anymore. So let's try without that. Because this is a pointer to the object that's loading the data to the main process. Oh, I forgot to remove the alert. Okay, is running. I don't need this. I'm not going to explain why I was using that because it's a bit complicated. Let's remove the alert. Let's fire up the OpenGL. I hope I'm saying that right. OpenGL? OpenGlide? I think the original name was OpenGlide. I don't remember anymore. Okay, it opened and then close it. Why? I have to figure out why. Starts the thread. Thread is not running. And start this thread in here. Construct. Full screen. Start. You can see that it opens and closes right away. Yeah. Let's try in a window mode. Because this should block the thread and do everything from there. But maybe because I'm running this in an external thread. Let's try something. Let me put the thread to sleep and see what happens. Okay, 1, 2, and closes. Interesting. But as far as I remember, this should be blocking the process. If I go and look at my game code, actually does that already. Oh boy. Around here. Starts and it blocks the. That's just weird. Maybe because I'm doing this from a new thread. Oh, come on. Let me try something different, maybe. Now I remember what I did. I created my whole class with the Opengl engine, the pixel game engine derivation from there already. Okay, let me think on something. Just going to let the thread stall. Let's see what's the performance in heat is going to be that. Okay, there is no problem with that. I can see that it's not running the loop correctly. Let me try something. I remove the elapsed time, so I'm going to put it back again. Just to check. And I'm going to put something in the screen just to test it. Should be blocking. I don't know why it's not blocking. Let's test this out. Yeah, it just closes. Yeah. Oh, I remember something. I changed something to do a test and I forgot to put it back. It's easy to find because I commented the whole thing. Where is it? I'm just going to test one more time, otherwise I'm going to copy the pixel engine code back if that fixes the problem. Let me download it again. And GitHub folder pixel engine. Maybe I changed something I don't remember. I was messing up with the file for a few days. It should be in there. Yes. Oh, compile. Or maybe it's just the thread that's messing up with the... Yeah. I blame the thread. Trying to think. Mhm. I don't know if I can do that, if it's going to work, but let's try. No, it doesn't work. So I have to figure out what's going on. It has to be the thread. I'm pretty sure. Try something. Oh, delete instead of cutting. Oops, I'm doing here. Oops, 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 oops. Almost dropped the mic. I'm going to try something. Maybe it works. Mm. Something like that. I don't know. I will figure this out eventually. Nah. Just a minute. Where's my be right back? Where's the text? Uh, supposed to be a text in there. Well, never mind. Be right back. I have another idea. That's just weird. Mhm. This is very weird. Oh, of course I'm doing something wrong. I just can't figure out. Let me check again the pixel hanging demonstration. Try this here. This example. Hmm. Interesting. It works. And it blocks the process. Okay, so let's try now from a thread. Maybe I just forgot something there and I don't know, didn't notice. Start thread 6. 6 is good, it's above the half, like 60%. Goes from 0 to 10, if I'm not mistaken. Move all the guys. Work in theory. Yeah, there you go, it's working. I should be able to close it. Okay, nice. Then I should have a button here to press to open again. But in standalone mode, it should close everything. Oh yeah. Okay, that's good. That's no problem. So there's just a few things I want to change. But not right now. Because the Pixel engine, it updates very fast. And I don't want that. I just want to update when it needs to be updated. It's not hard to do that, so I'm going to do that in soonish. Okay, I have my thread there. Effect, the editor, and the thread. Okay, that I sure need it. Here on my editor, no, not in here. You probably think, why so many files? Well, each file has a purpose. Thread. So we have the editor. X for Wusik Station 10. The editor I separated from the other products. So it's just easier to navigate. So here we have this guy, which I'm not going to use anymore. I'm going to use this guy. Station X. Not going to create anything, but it looks like we have leave this guy in here. So let's leave it in here. And I'm going to leave this guy in here instead. Okay, that's good. Now let's go to the thread. What's the name again? His name. Just to keep things easier to see. Okay, that should be good. Now the thread is getting created if it's not running. So okay, that's good. Nice. To be able to resize this, just like I said, and it's very fast. And of course, I have to stop sending this interface here. So I have to change now all the code to use the Opengl interface instead of the regular draw interface. And I have to also remove because now all the keystrokes and mouse strokes are going to be received by the Opengl window. So that's going to change things a bit. But that's okay. Not hard. Just takes a bit of thinking. So what I have to do first? created my Opengl here. Just like the thread, I need the editor in here, because sometimes I will need some information from the editor, like skin settings and stuff like that. Let's do like this. And I think I can do like this. Pretty sure I can pass it up the. So here on the construction, I just add the editor, which I already added. Let me recheck this. Where is the construction for the thread? It's in here. Ah, okay. Editor, of course. So the thread is a void. And I just worried here if it's a standalone. So okay, this is not a big deal. Now let me copy again the code to get the size of the window. It should be around here. Not in here. Where is it again? Already forgot. Oh, here it is. So I get the size. And I'm going to run in full screen. That's going to be a big mess of noise in the screen, but just to test it up. OBS is not even rendering correctly. I hope I did not break the transmission. But that's the idea, okay? And of course, this is always going to use that sizing. But now, I'm going to worry about the full screen window version later, because just easy to do. Just want to handle with the hardest portions of the thing right now. Because I need to create a few things, like a new knob code that use Opengl instead of my regular Juice code. Not hard. It's pretty much copy and paste and change a few lines. But trying to figure out something. So okay, let me recheck. The window is only going to open after everything has been loaded and is correct. So let me think. The process skin 800 by 600. That's going to be the size of the window. How do I know if it's processing skin? Load skin, processing skin. This processing skin, I make a very large one. Otherwise, 600 by 400 should be okay. And let's test if that's going to correctly work. when I'm messing up with the skin and having to redraw again. Nah, it's not doing anything. Not drawing. No good. It deleted the cached file, so it was starting to process. Let me check the code for the update skin again. Digital repaint. Well, this is interesting because well, that's correct. But what's not correct, I know what it is. There's a timer that runs and updates the interface. Oh, it's already disabled. Come on. Should be working then. It's not even setting the right size in here. Well, that I think I know what it is. Because the processing skin not happening here. Here we go. There is so many things to check. Come on, it's not withdrawing. Oh boy. It is getting in here. If I can compile. Oh, it's not going to compile. I have to make a Windows code safe alert code. Whatever. Let me think. So it gets in here, it starts to process the file. That size is not doing anything. That's just weird. Start timer, okay. The memory interface process, that's the code that process the whole interface. This is, I should not. So good. It should be drawing this, not drawing this. What's the performance like? Here's doing something. There too. But the threads are all over the place. That I don't know. I cached the files. It's saving the files now. And then it draws. What's a pain in the neck. Oh, now it puts the right size. Should not. Those already. Let me think. I update the interface. There is no load data. Ah, of course. I'm not using a thread for that. Guess I have to put back the thread. So I can at least show what's happening. Oh boy. Okay, I just put it back. It's not a big deal. How it's going to work correctly. There you go. Create the run code in here. Yeah. Now I have to also add the editor I'm going to need. And then I update the data from there. Not from there. Oh, it's from the data files. Yeah, data file. Let's put the data files in there instead. There we go. Missing the on the editor. I hate that. We need to cast the editor too. So now, instead of running this guy, I don't do that. I'm going to create. Oh, I'm going to use the process editor. Goes this. Oh, data file. Data files. Start threads 6. There you go. Then there I call again the update editor. That should do it. So the last thing is going to be the Opengl. Only thing I'm going to change is the display of things, because it's going to be a mess to handle. So I'm not going to use the show processing option again. It can be helpful sometimes, but you can also take a look at the cached files and you're going to know what's happening. So where's my... Oh, we don't show anything here. Just set all of the black alpha. Oh, there we go. Now I don't have the background image anymore, but maybe... Yeah, I'm going to need to have at least one background image for the main process with the button for the edit. So for now, I'm just going to fill it out with black. This preset name I'm going to leave in here because I'm going to need it later. Set font and draw text. I'm just going to put something like click to reopen the editor. Something like that. I think that's correct. I'm pretty sure it is. And then the size, I'm going to leave always the same size. 600 by 400. And on the update interface, now these all here, these I have to change. And also the viewport. Because now I have to create this in another way. Just let me double check why the size was. Oh, okay, now it's correct. That should be large enough for all the text. Okay, it's saving the files now. And after that, should show the big noise. If I close, well, almost perfect. It's not displaying me the message. Let me check the cache of the files. Cache of the files. It's good. Let me remove the redraw. And also, where is it? The first redraw, no. I'm looking for something here. Show process, I'm going to remove. But why did it not change? Set font, draw. Oh, set color, I forgot. Color white. Click to reopen it. Or maybe I'm just going to leave like that. I don't know. It's too ugly. I do something else. Okay, it has to be a bit wider. So instead of 600, 800 should do it. But at least it shows that it's loading. And then it pops the new window. Oops, here. Click to reopen the editor, which I'm going to add. So there are a few problems that I have to address. Let's say you are in a window mode and you want to close the original window. It needs to stop this thread in here. And for that, there's a command from the Pixel engine that I can call. So let me check. Where is it? Hey there. I just saw the message now. I'm doing fine, just a bit slow, but doing my best work. Okay, let me find, where do I do the shutdown? Menus is in here. Wait. Oh yeah, it's very complicated, but once you get a hand on things, it just works. Oh, here it is, platform. We'll see terminate. Okay, this is the one I need. So this should happen when the editor is being closed. So let me find the editor destructor. And so for Wusik Station 10, I check if the thread is running. What's the name of the thread again? Oh, I forgot already. So many things. King process thread, no. What's the name of the thread? Oh, it's here. So if this thread is running, it means this thread running. It means that I have to close the little bugger. But I'm already seeing a problem in here. So I'm going to have to call this from this file because this file has a pixel engine. So I'm going to create another call called the Wusik Station X extractor. Would be in here, I guess. No, not in here. Oh, not goes with these guys here. Oh, let's Wusik Station 10. Destroy. Destroy. Okay. Then here it's running. Destroy. Well, actually, I'm going to put everything in there instead. So I just called it destroy, and on that file, I should be able to call the destructor correctly. Destroy. And I should be able to check if the thread is running. Oh, you complain about the platform. Ah, of course. I know what it is. Oh, come on, what it is that I'm forgetting? Oh, I need to. Okay. I know. I know what it is. I have to do it in a different way. So I have my thread, and I have to create the guy from the thread there. It should be like these instead. And I should be able to pass the editor. Oops, sorry. Oh boy. Okay. Now I have the thread with the correct objects, and this guy is waiting for the fish. That's no good. It's complaining now. I'm going to just create in a different way. Huh. I should have been creating this in a different way, but well, it's kind of okay. Not so bad. I just have to find out now. Where I created it, the thread, and pass all the correct information there. Okay, thread. I have to create this guy. Let's hope it works. Create it as a scoped pointer so it destructs itself when it closes. So now we don't need this anymore, and we push the pointer, and during the destructor we can go by the now it should work. Or not. Jeez, why are so many errors? Oh, of course. We don't know what the Opengl is in yet. What now? Okay. Let's just use void then. I like to use void. And funny enough, we don't need effect yet, but I'm going to leave there. Because at some point we may need it. Now we need to get the information from this guy here. Oops. Like that. Yes. Oh, properties, get out of my way. Opengl equals new. I think it's going to work. A bit messy, but should be okay. It's a bit messy because I'm mixing two frameworks, and that gets very complicated sometimes. Or maybe I just don't know better and I'm doing in a different way, but it should work. So now if I go here on this guy and close it, it should close the other guy as, yeah, that's working. But there's one thing that I want to check. So what I'm going to add here, where is my mouse call? Oh, not that one. There's a place where it does the mouse call. Let me check about the data folder. So it's Wusik. Let me literally remove all Wusik tree and see if it's going to ask me. Could not find the Wusik data folder. Click here to locate. Okay. It's working as correctly. Wusik engine data. Please reload to complete the operation. Okay. Reload. It was showing something there. I have to check what's that. It was welcome to the Wusik Station X demonstration version. Oh, okay, I'm running the demonstration mode. Okay, I erased something that was I will fix that off video because it's a special thing. But okay, so we have the mouse up in here and check if the data files has not found the data files. Otherwise, it checks for the preset name area, which we are not going to use. So I'm going to bypass the code, all this preset code. Hopefully put in the right place. Instead, is WSX are going to update the interface. Actually, we new action. No, update display all. Because this is going to call a timer and have it done in another thread, so it's thread safe. So I should be able to close and reopen. I close it, and now it's reopening. It didn't reopen on the top, but it's not the worst thing in the world. What I'm going to do now, see if I can send this to back. Happens in here. Oh. Wow, come on. Starts a thread. And back. Otherwise, I can also check why it's not bringing it to the front, the new window, and just force it to the front. Because here it is opening in the front, so I don't know why it's doing like that. Let's see. I'm going to worry about that later on. Not so important. So okay, I'm going to take a break because my voice is starting to scratch. I'm going to eat something and maybe tomorrow I'll come back, or after tomorrow. The videos are going to be a bit slow at first, but I'm getting there. Drinking some water. Okay, till next time, and thanks for watching.